Wednesday afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of Monday Night Safety Stop. Today is June the 17th, and coming to you with this special video here because on the 20th, this coming Saturday, we are doing a Poseidon demo day at the park. And we were fortunate enough earlier today to be able to interview a couple of folks from Poseidon, and they told us about the event, and so we just wanted to share that with you guys. For those who are interested in Poseidon regulators, are curious, hey, this is your opportunity to come out and try one of the three models that they're going to have on site, as well as your opportunity to be entered into the drawing to walk away from the park on Saturday with a brand new Poseidon regulator set. So, without further ado, we're going to jump right into this interview. And if you guys are interested, come on out Sunday. Or I'm sorry, let me back up. Saturday, June 20th, and come out and experience the Poseidon regulators. You can come out and dive one. You can dive all three. It's completely up to you. But come out and join us, and let's jump right into this interview. And hopefully, you guys will learn a little bit more about Poseidon and what they're doing, and about the demo. So I've got Ben and Daniel here from Poseidon, here to talk about the upcoming demo that is going to be at the park this Saturday, June 20th. Ben, tell us about this great, awesome demo that Poseidon is doing.
Sure. So we've had about 2 to 3 of these already. They've gone really well. Our main purpose is really to get divers to try out our regulators. Ours are very different than some of the others. I might be biased, but they're better. But it gives everyone an opportunity to try a different regulator. If you do come try one of our Jetstream, Xtreme, or Cyclone regs, you'll be entered in a drawing to win a full set. We'll go over that here in a little bit later too. But one of our full Xtreme regulator sets, and you'll walk away with it at the end of the day. It's not a phone in later type of deal. So it's a good time. You get to experience some really cool technology, try a new regulator. We'll go over some of the differences in person as well. So other than that, it's just a fun day of diving.
Oh yeah, of course. Anytime we get a chance to jump in the water, I always say a bad day of diving is better than the best day at work. So, so the demo we've got. I think there's three different models that you're bringing out. So can divers, dive all three regulators, like come up, switch it out? How does that work?
If they're interested, we can do that. I'll have about 15 different regulator sets. You're correct, 3 different models, but I'll have quite a few, just depending on availability. I'm more than happy to have people try out different regulators on their dives.
Okay. Well, I know, most of the times folks like to do, at least two dives in a day. And, with a demo, if somebody had like 15 different models, it's going to be impossible to do, all in one day. But let's get into the models, the different regulators that you're bringing. And I'm going to bring Daniel in on this because Daniel's coming to us live from Poseidon itself. So, Daniel, welcome to the show. Uh,
Thank you very much.
uh, Talk to us about some of the, well, first let's get started in Poseidon. I've been around the industry, or I've been in the industry for 30 plus years. I've known Poseidon since I got certified. Tell us about Poseidon.
Yeah, so I'm located in Gothenburg, Sweden. So quite far away from you guys. I will not be attending the try dive, unfortunately, but I'm more than happy to be here to support you guys and tell you a little bit about the regulators. The company Poseidon was founded in 1958, so it's actually one of the oldest companies within the dive industry. It's only Aqualung that is actually older than Poseidon. And the guy who founded the company was called Ingvar Elfström, and he was a diving nut like many of us. And he dove the Aqualung regulator that had two hoses coming from behind, and it was extremely hard to breathe out from. And he has said there need to be a better way of doing this. So he invented the first single hose regulator in the world, and that's how it all got started. So that was the first regulator that was actually created with a single hose. So you exhaled and all the bubbles went out into the water. And then Poseidon has been an innovator within the industry for many years, pushing into new boundaries when it comes to new ways of doing stuff. And we can go through some of those examples if you're interested in that.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
like I said, I've known about Poseidon for years. It's one of those that for years here in the U.S., there wasn't that they weren't readily available. You didn't have a lot of dealers in the area, and I'm talking in the early '90s. So how is the dealer network looking? Here in 2026.
Yeah, so Ben is working hard on getting the dealer network built up proper way, and I'm doing a lot of seminars trying to inform the dealers first about the products and why the Poseidon regulators look very different from other brands out there. We will go into that shortly, but also spreading the word about the regulators to the public, the divers, because a lot of people, excuse me, do not know about the Poseidon brand, which is a pity, especially in America. So we're really focusing on a lot of marketing right now. And so you will see more and more marketing throughout the upcoming years to explain why Poseidon looks different and why we are different. So I can go through some of the innovations that have happened throughout the years. So if you Ingvar and his buddies, they were diving out here in the west coast of Sweden. Kind of most of the year is not that warm in the water, so they were diving in mechanical suits. And when they came out of the water, obviously they were super cold, and they had these big bonfires they were trying to warm up. And then when they got to a reasonable core temperature in their bodies again, they jumped in their mechanical suits, and then they kept on doing that. And they just thought there needs to be a better way of doing this. And at just that time they were thinking about that in the early 70s. This new material came out which was called neoprene, and they asked the manufacturer of the neoprene, is this watertight, is it waterproof? And the manufacturer had no idea, so they actually bought the bulk of neoprene material and brought it in and started playing with it and see if it was working, and it was actually waterproof. So in 1973, I believe it was, they launched the first neoprene dry suit in the world with an inlet and outlet valve. That was also a world first. So they had an inlet and outlet valve on the front side of the suit. The suit was called Unisuit, and it was very popular over many decades from that time. So that was also a way to resolve an issue, which Poseidon is quite famous for. Another thing that was a world first was that Poseidon, during the 90s, when you started diving, Chris, there was a big technical community growing up that came from nowhere, really. And it was all about divers wanted to push the envelope on what was possible to do. Unfortunately, the training and the products that they were diving were not manufactured for the depths they wanted to go to. So unfortunately, there was a lot of accidents and a lot of injuries, and people died during this time. And all the training agencies, manufacturers said, no, we condemn this type of diving that you're doing because we don't do products or we don't do training for this type of depth. And Poseidon just looked at the situation. We said that, these divers are probably not going to stop diving these depths. It's in their core. They want to explore these depths. So let's try to make them a product that actually can sustain the depths they want to go to, and then they can do it on their own, at their own risk. So in 2001, we launched the first regulator in the world that was certified to 200 meters, and it was the Poseidon Extreme, which is this one, the one I have in front of me here. So this is the first regulator ever certified down to 200 meters through all the certification agencies out there. So that was a world first. And then in 2009, Poseidon launched the first fully automatic recreational rebreather in the world, which is called the Poseidon Mark 6. And after that, it's Poseidon 7 and Poseidon 7 Plus has been new models. And that was actually the first time that I came into the company in 2009 when the Poseidon Mark 6 was launched. And I was the main instructor for that rebreather at Poseidon. So I traveled the world trying to certify as many instructors as possible on that machine. And excuse me. And now we're excuse me, we're looking a lot on the military side of diving, but we still haven't lost connection with the recreational community.
Okay.
So we're doing a big push and trying to inform people about the regulators and how they work and how you use them.
Okay. Hey, Ben, got a real quick question for you. So Daniel had brought up the Extreme Regulator, and I think that's one of the ones that is going to be at the demo, correct?
Yes, that's actually one I'll have the most inventory of. So
okay.
We'll have plenty of those. We'll have plenty of those to try.
So for those that are into tech diving and stuff, it's going to be a great opportunity to try. Like Daniel said, it's rated to 200 meters, and that's one thing I have to say here in the U.S. I think we're the only ones that use Imperial. Everybody else, I have to do the calculations to say, okay, how deep is that?
600 feet.
There you go. Yeah. So, huh?
I was gonna add to that when you're talking about the Extreme. It does come capable with a few other bonuses. Just remembering your original podcast. We're also rated down. Correct if I'm wrong, Daniel, but to 30, right at freezing water temperature. I know we've seen them perform just fine at 28 degrees Fahrenheit, but the rating on paper, I believe, is 35. Outside of that, the side purge, you're not going to have bubbles in your face. So there's more than just the features of just the depth, as well as being oxygen compatible too. So you're kind of getting an all-in-one set in one regulator that way too.
Okay. Yeah, like when we first announced the demo at on Monday Night Safety Stop a few episodes ago, I know because at the point I knew a little bit about Poseidon. I know it's been around for a long time, and having you guys on here being able to tell us a lot more about the company. And about the regulators, and you guys don't even do just regulators. I mean, you guys have other products as well. I know one of the popular ones are the dry suit boots. All the colors and stuff. My wife has a pink pair she got for her dry suit, but Poseidon, like I said, is it's a great company. I've always held them in high esteem because there's good products out there, but when people hear Poseidon, they know, oh well, Poseidon, that's a pretty reputable brand. Daniel, So, what are a couple of the other regulators that are going to be out there at the demo?
Yeah, yeah. So we have three different models of regulators. The one that has been around for the longest time is this one. It's the Cyclone. It's a downstream regulator, and it has, you know, the signature retro look that it had back in the 50s when it was launched the first time around. But this has been worked on and improved over the decades. So the dimensions and interior internal um, mechanisms have been improved over decades. It's probably the one of the regulators in the world that has the most dives on it, just because it's been around so long. So it's really been proven by time. It has all the signature features of a Poseidon regulator, which is the side exhaust, which all the regulators we have do have. It works very well in cold water conditions. And there's no buttons or knobs to adjust, which is also a very typical Poseidon way of having the regulators. I will go into why this is a good thing later on. Yeah, so it's a downstream regulator, more of a mechanical feel to it. Then we have the jet stream. Let's see if I can get it in the picture. There we go. So it's a little bit bigger than the Cyclone. It's a servo valve upstream regulator. It's the first one that we launched. It's a little bit bigger, as I said. Can take a punch quite well, and it's works well for stage bottles because you don't need to be so careful with it. So you can, you know, stage bottles usually are get manhandled quite well. So this is it's a nice second stage.
So
And then we have
let me
yeah,
interject there just a second, Daniel. You know, and and here is a very valid point. You know, a lot of divers, unless you're in technical or you're into, you know, you're a service tech or whatnot. You know, the average general diver who's out there who's maybe looking for a regulator won't know the difference between upstream and downstream.
yeah, yeah. I have some nice flow charts that I can send you, and you can put up on your homepage that you can show your customers. It's kind of hard to explain it without the flow charts. It's much easier to look at the flow chart, and you can
Yes.
explain it much easier that way. But what it is, if you dumb it down, is a downstream regulator. It opens the opening valve in the second stage with the flow of the gas. So it opens down the flow. An upstream regulator opens the valve upstream against the flow of the gas. So the jet stream and the X stream are upstream regulators, which means that they have a and they're servo valve assisted, which is also a little bit different from your normal valve front perch regulator. But it's a very superior design in the way that I look at it, because it's more of an on-off switch, and an up front perch regulator are designed to work with what we call the Venturi effect. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Maybe your listeners are not, but the Venturi effect, it's a vacuum that is created within the regulator and actually creates additional flow within the regulator. And the front perch regulators are designed to work with this Venturi effect, while the Poseidon regulators are designed in a way to minimize the effect of the Venturi effect. And that's why you can certify this regulator down to 200 meters or 600 feet, because the effect of the Venturi effect increases with depth. And if you minimize the effect of the Venturi effect, you can certify it down to a deeper depth. So, and I will send you those flow charts, and it's easier to show customers if they're interested. And Ben will be there on the try dive, and he can explain it easier. He has nice pictures with him that he can explain that for you, for your the people that try dive. But for people that are interested in the inner mechanics of regulators, it's good to understand these type of effects within the regulators, to understand how well these regulators are made. And Ben does a very good job of explaining that in a simple way. Yeah, so if we look at these regulators, the Extreme, the Jetstream, and the Cyclone, all of them have a side exhaust. So there's a lot of benefits to that, because when you look at the Poseidon regulator, you immediately see that it's a Poseidon regulator, because it looks very different from anything else there that are out there, and there's a really good reason why they look the way they do. It's not by chance. The Poseidon is a pure engineering company, and there's no chance when we do the design. It's done by design, and it's purely engineered. So there's a good thought process behind the design of each regulator. So when we look at the side exhaust, there's a bunch of different benefits of having a side exhaust instead of a front perch regulator, which has a front perch. Usually you exhaust below when you exhale, the bubbles go below, right? So when you have a side exhaust, the first benefit is that the bubbles goes away from your face out into the water instead of in front of your face. So if you're not swimming or there's a current, the bubbles will actually go right in front of your eyes. So you miss out on all the things that you want to see. If you want to explore a cave or you want to see a wreck or a reef or whatever, you're missing out because you have bubbles in front of your face. So that's one benefit of having a side exhaust. The second thing is that if you're in a current, there's no risk of having a current-induced front perch on these regulators. If you have a front perch regulator and you're going in a current, there's a risk that you have a current-induced front perch on the regulator. But as the perch button is on the side here, right there, there's no risk for that. Also, if you're driving underwater vehicle like a scooter or something like that, you won't get a current-induced front perch on in that instance either. The scooters are becoming quite popular nowadays. Another thing that is good with a side perch is that the regulator becomes ambidextrous, which means there's no up or down on it. So you can put it in your mouth either way. It's always the right way. If you have a front perch regulator, there's always one side correct way to put it in your mouth. But here it's always right. So either way works. So that's good if you have a panicking diver that you need to supply air to. You can just hand them your second stage and they don't need to orient it before putting in your mouth. And usually they're quite panicky when they don't have any air left. Another thing is that if you have it as a stage, second stage, you don't need to orient the regulator before you take it in your mouth from your stage tank. Another thing, if you're diving side mount, you can do totally different routing than normal side mount diving because it's always the right way. So you don't need to put it around your neck, or you can have it in two necklaces around your neck, because it's always be the right routing on the mouthpiece. And the fourth thing that is very good with having a side exhaust is that if you dive on a front perch regulator, it's designed to work with the water pressure. So the best way to breathe on that is actually when you're facing down, looking down into the water column, the water will push up on that front perch membrane and actually help you inhale, because the water column is now pushing up on that membrane. But as soon as you start looking up towards the surface, or you look underneath a ledge, if you're looking at some, a lobster that's hanging upside down on a ledge, something like that, the front purge regulator starts to flutter the front membrane, because the water is now pushing up on that membrane away from you, and it actually can take in water sometime, even because it becomes so flimsy. On these regulators, you don't have that problem, because it will always breathe the same way, because you don't have a front purge membrane that it gets affected by the pressure. So you can look up or down or the side, it will always breathe the same. And if you're underwater, you want to have consistent breathing all the time. And this is what the Extreme or the Jet Stream or the Cyclone gives you, because they have a side exhaust. So those are the benefits of having a side exhaust. If you look at the regulators, they do not have any gears or switches or knobs on them. And that comes down to the philosophy within Poseidon. So within Poseidon, we see you should focus on the dive. The diver should focus on the dive, and we should focus on the gear. The gear should just work. You should not become a service technician underwater. I usually ask people when I meet them on dive sites and ask them, why do you dive? And you always hear this, it's about the same kind of thing. I want to explore, I want to feel the tranquility under the surface, I want to explore a wreck or a reef, or I want to, I'm a fish nerd, or whatever it is. It's usually something in that style. You never hear anybody say, yeah, I'm going to dive for 45 minutes and I'm going to fiddle with my regulator, making it work the best under the water, and I'm gonna just spend all my time trying to make my gear work the best. You never hear anybody say that, because these things are just tools to make you experience the underwater world. They should just work. And we know that a lot of our competitors, they see these gears and switches on the regulators and they sell them as features, because it's a good thing, because you can tune your regulator to any depth. We see them as a burden on the diver, because you are not a service technician underwater. You are not certified to tune a regulator. You don't know what you're doing. And they might do it as simple as possible, but we all know divers will not turn those switches. And they say that you should adjust it on the surface and then adjust it on the way down at 30 feet and then adjust it at 60 feet, because we know the Venturi effect changes all the time. You need to adjust it all the time. These are designed so they will work the same at any depth. 0 meters, 60 feet, 120 feet, 600 feet, always, work the same. You don't need to fiddle with it to make it work. So that's the way of thinking within Poseidon. It should just work out of the box. You should not need to do anything, turn a knob or become an expert in how to tune your regulator just to make it breathe properly. So that's in the philosophy and the way that we see the gear, is that it's a tool. It's not, you don't need to be a service technician to make it work. So no gears and knobs on the Poseidon regulators. Then we have, it's a balanced regulator. We can look at the first stages. The extreme first stage, which is the high-end one. And then we have the Cyclone one, which is together with the Cyclone. The Cyclone can also have this one if you would like to have it. But this is the high performance one. Gives you a lot of gas. It's the only regulator that the US Navy dives in cold water conditions. It's the most, it's the best regulator in cold water conditions. And it has to do with the thermodynamic antifreeze system that it's in the regulator itself. It has to do with the perforated top, and it's quite a heavy first stage. I want all the tri divers to feel the weight of it, and there's a reason why it's so heavy, because when it's heavy, it will collect all the ice in the bottom of the first stage and withdraw the ice from the top. as long as there's no ice on the top here, it will not freeze up. So it's a very high performance regulator when it comes into cold water, and most of people will not go into cold water diving. And when we're talking cold water diving, it's 32 degrees below Fahrenheit, 32 Fahrenheit, and it's very, very cold. Most people will not dive that, but I always say the harshest conditions for regulators to survive in is cold water diving. There's nothing more hard for a regulator to work in than in cold water diving. So if you can sustain that type of environment, and this one sustains it brilliantly, it will perform anything in warm water, because it's a walk in the park for this regulator. So very nice flow, and it works in near empty tank the same way as it full. And it actually has a unique design within the regulator. I can send you the flow charts of the first stage as well, but it has a ruby ball inside of the first stage, which is a unique design in the first stage. It doesn't have a piston, and the way that works, it has very few error points in the way that the gas moves through the first stage into your second stage. And it actually, the wear and tear over time is much less than in a piston valve, for instance. And just because there's so few moving parts, and the flow of gas is much more direct towards the second stage than in a piston valve, where it needs to go through a lot of hoops and loops to get to you as a diver. So those are big benefits when it comes to that first stage. It's hard to explain it when you don't have the flow chart, but I will send you the flow chart, and you can show your customers or listeners when they want to watch it and see that.
I also have a good version of that I'll have with me this weekend too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and Ben,
have I missed anything, Ben?
No, I think you covered quite a bit of it.
Yeah, I think I covered it, right? Yeah.
Well, Ben, I was going to ask you, or actually, you've been to the park. You know how it is. When you get down to really below 60 feet at the park, you're diving cold water. You're in the 40s, and for us here, I know Daniel, that probably sounds like warm water. But 46, 47 degrees. A lot of other manufacturer regulators they won't withstand. They'll freeze up. Of course, it's one of those things that you need to have something that's cold water rated if you're going to dive deep at the park, just because of the temperatures. But with the Poseidon regulators, the ones you're going to have out on the demo, you're going to have all three of them. So if somebody wanted to make an 80, 90 foot dive just to test the functionality, they're going to be able to.
Absolutely. So a lot of, actually backing up to your comment about freezing, having taken these, we also partner with the Ice Hole Festival that goes on every year in January. And I'm happy to show some pictures in person this weekend of these coated in ice and still working. A lot of the freezing is going to come from actually the surface when they come out of the water. These regulators, to your point, in the quarry will do anything and everything you want to do in the quarry. You're definitely not going to come up with any issues with freezing in 40 degree water and at that depth. So yeah, that they should work very well in the quarry.
So give us a little bit of insight as far as how is the demo going to work? When the divers come in, they get checked in, they come down to the pavilion area where you will be. We'll have a place that, somebody who comes in will direct them to you. So just go through how you've done it in the past demos.
Sure. I'm not sure where you'll have me placed. I assume somewhere down by the pavilions.
We'll have you
I've got
right
a
by the
tent.
water.
So if it's hot, I may want to be in the water. But I'll have a table set up. I'll have everything on display, including the boots you mentioned, for everyone to see. I just ask, or I don't ask, I require a valid ID, or I've used your diver certification cards before too, that I'll hold on to until I get the regulator back. But it's pretty much that simple. We'll have one ready to go. I may have you breathe off it a little bit to make sure it's comfortable for you. There is a small adjustment to the cracking pressure that we can manually do at the surface. But I want to make sure you have a good dive and are ready to go. And then whenever you come back, I'll hand you a raffle ticket and give you your card back. So pretty simple and straightforward.
Okay. Well, and Daniel was talking a while ago about, not needing to be a service technician, and when you said cracking for, a small adjustment, a lot of people don't realize that, to actually get regulators tuned to peak performance, you've got to have the gauges and all that stuff. So when you say you're going to do a small adjustment, I mean, is it something easy that, that a diver can do kind of on the fly, or?
Yes, it is. I'm actually going to tap Daniel if he can pull the Extreme apart and maybe show one little piece while I talk about this. But there is the analogy I like to use for this adjustment is, when you get your BCD, or if you get your back plate and wing, as you're setting up that equipment, you're setting it to how you like it, and once it's set, it's set. And that's the same thing with this second stage. There's just one quick set screw, and you're basically adjusting the needle of how far out and in it is, how easy it is to breathe. But once you get that set where you like it, no further adjustments necessary. It's as simple as a small Allen key to undo the set screw, and then a very, very minimal adjustment with a pair of forceps. So, and I think he's working on pulling that apart just to show you the real simple part.
Oh, okay. And of course, you're going to be showing that too on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's while Daniel's getting that set up for you, so we can kind of show that. Tell us about the giveaway. Oh, are you ready, Daniel?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
So this is the extreme here, the extreme second stage. So within the extreme and the extreme, you have something called a servo valve. It looks like this. I call it the rocket ship because it looked like a Soviet Union rocket ship. So when you place it on the table, it really looks like a rocket ship. So this actually sits inside of the second stage like that. So when you inhale, the inhalation membrane pushes down on this little joystick here, and it's the servo valve joystick. So when that is actuated, a small valve inside of the top here opens up against the flow of the gas, and it's very tiny, so you don't need to open it that much to start gas moving through this contraption. And once that is open, there's a balloon inside of this cylinder here, and I don't know if you can see that, but there's a lot of holes in this cylinder. So the balloon is, when this is straining out, the balloon is covering all the holes and doesn't let the gas flow through. When you open the valve and gas starts to flow through, the intermediate pressure drops inside of the cylinder and the balloon collapses, and all the gas starts to flow through the hose immediately. So it's really an on and off switch with the Poseidon Jetstream and Xtreme. So the adjustment that you do once when you get your regulator, obviously Ben needs to do it now for every single diver, but he's happy to do so because he's such a friendly guy. But you can adjust the cracking pressure to your preference. In the way you do that is that there's an adjustment screw right here, and you untighten that one, and then you use a plier here. You call it plier, Ben, or what do you call it? Like
it could be some very light needle nose pliers or forceps,
yeah,
kind of like the locking scissors pliers that you see
yeah,
for fly fishing. So.
exactly. My English language isn't that good when it comes to tools, so I'm trying to learn here. But anyway, so what you do is when the adjustment screw is untightened, you can actually move this servo valve closer to the inhalation membrane. And when you do so, the inhalation membrane will actually actuate this pin earlier than it would before. If you move it way from the inhalation membrane, it will take longer for the inhalation to actually initiate the inhalation. So the further you move it closer to the inhalation membrane, the quicker it will actually actuate. Something you have to keep in mind when you're doing this is that if you move it closer to the inhalation membrane, it will be more prudent to free flow. So you need to be careful when adjusting it. But as long as you are aware of this, you can just set the adjustment very to the spot where you feel the work of breathing is the best. So that's how you make the adjustment on the servo valve. And then when you are happy with the setting, you tighten the adjustment screw, and then you leave it, and then it will work the same at all depths. So that's one setting that you do.
Okay. Yeah, well, and most divers, like you said, are always fiddling with their adjustment knobs and stuff. We don't go underwater just to, play with the equipment and try to get it set. It, from what I'm hearing, what it's sounding is, you set it once, and it's going to breathe the exact same way every dive. So
Yeah,
the
at
less,
every depth. It doesn't
yeah.
change with depth. That's the key feature.
Yeah, and of course, every diver, if I'm not having to fiddle with gear, I'm able to do other things. So,
Yeah.
it's great.
Mm. Okay.
Ben, tell us about the giveaway. Some lucky diver is going to walk away that day. Tell us about it.
Sure. So we have a special edition set of our extreme regulators, which is the one Daniel was just showing. The first stage will actually be, we call it obsidian or black colored, so it won't be the chrome you saw in the video here, but
This one.
yes,
Okay.
that one actually. So that'll be the first stage. Obviously, it will come with gauge, octo, and second stage, which our octos are really just a second stage. We've had a couple nicknames, either the Panda Rig or my preference is the Stormtrooper one. The housing of that second stage is actually going to be white, so you get a really cool white and black mix.
That's for all the Star Wars fans, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if you're going to Hoth, you can dive this regulator. So that's one for the serious Star Wars fans. But yeah, so it also, as a package, is going to come with some stickers, some swag, a hat, one of our 3D masks, dive masks, and a bag for it as well. So it's an all complete kit, kind of going along the lines of what we've been saying is, let us worry about the breathing and you worry about the diving. So the kit will be ready to go out the box.
That is so awesome. But you've got to dive it to be able to win it, right?
Yes. You've got to try a dive on one of our regulators to be entered to win.
So another question, and I know somebody out there is going to ask this, so I'll just go ahead and put it out there. If I come in and I try all three, does that mean I get 3 chances?
We haven't had that happen before. I'd like to stick more to if you try a dive, you get one.
You know, well, hey, there's
but,
always that one person out there that's gonna come up with a question that we don't think about, and then
Sure.
like that situation. So I know our divers, and our divers are gonna be like, well, you know, if I try 3, I might be able to get 3 chances. You know.
Sure.
So you come in, you try at least one. You can try all 3 is what you're saying, but you get one chance to go in the drawing.
Yes, and it might surprise some people. I've had some want to take it on one dive, and the next thing you know, they did their dives for the day with it, and that's fine. So if as long as we have enough for everybody, someone may enjoy it so much they just use it the rest of the day.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you know, at least, you know, I think, you know, doing demos like this is a great opportunity for divers who may have not invested in their gear yet, or they're looking to, you know, replace some of their older equipment. You know, it gives them a hands-on, you know, I can actually dive it and see what it's like. You know, then like us just sitting here talking about it, yeah, you know, we can talk and sell regulators all day long. But, you know, the proof is in the pudding when you get in the water with whatever piece of equipment, you know, and actually, yeah, I like it, or nah, I don't like it. You know, so this is a great opportunity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should
Oh, I agree
always
completely.
try a regulator before you purchase it. It's very important how it breathes and how you feel comfortable with the breathing pattern.
Mhm.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, that's coming up this Saturday, June the 20th. Of course, the park opens at 8 a.m. I think we're going to try to get the demo started about 9ish. That way it gives folks time to get in, get set up, come over and talk to you, Ben, and, you know, pick out the regulator they want to try out. If they want to try the Extreme, the Jetstream, or the Cyclone, you'll have all 3 of them available, multiple, I should say, so that hopefully, you know, we run out. That's what I'm hoping. You know, so many people want to try it. You know, just
Sure.
the giveaway is, you know, to me is worth everything. Hey, come out, go diving, enjoy something, try something new. You know, I think it's a great opportunity. Daniel, Ben, thank you for joining us. Do you have anything else to add before we wrap up here?
Thank
No,
you
I
for
look forward
being,
to seeing
you know,
everyone.
having us on your podcast. I'm really happy
Yeah.
to contribute.
Well, we
Yeah.
appreciate you guys' time. I know there's a little bit of a time difference between me and Ben and Daniel, which me and Ben are here on the same time. So, you know, when this would normally air if we done it live, you know, I think Daniel would probably be asleep in the middle of the night. So, you know, we like to do our podcast live, but you know, in this situation, hey, I appreciate you guys taking your time out of your busy day. And hey, this Saturday, let's go diving. Poseidon demo event at the park. We can't wait to see you guys there. Ben, Daniel, thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, guys, we have the scoop now from the guys themselves, Ben and Daniel from Poseidon, all about the demo dive day coming up this weekend, this Saturday at the park. Come out, try a Poseidon regulator, get your chance to win the brand new Poseidon regulator set. It's a great opportunity. You get to try new regulator sets, different ones, especially if you've been in the market for one. Also, get you a chance to win that new limited edition Extreme regulator set from Poseidon, as well as a bunch of great swag. So put it on your calendar. Come on out. Join us Saturday, uh, June the 20th. I had to think about the date for a second. Uh, this Saturday, June 20th. And we look forward to seeing you guys there. As always, you know, we can't wait to see you guys out diving the park. It is summer, So we are still on our summer break, but this is a special event that you don't want to miss. And so come on out this Saturday. Come and try out Poseidon Regulators. Get your name entered to win the new Extreme Limited Edition regulator set. And if you're diving with us, we can't wait to see you. If you're not, we hope you have a fun, safe, and adventurous diving experience. So until next time, guys, my co-partner in crime is at work, so it's just me. So we'll catch you guys on the next special edition coming up, Women's Dive Day. We will have a special edition coming up here in a couple more weeks of Women's Dive Day, but we'll more than likely do that on a Monday regular scheduled time. But we will post that out as soon as we are going to go live. So until next time, can't wait to see you guys out diving and enjoy your next dive.